feel a song coming. Clap, snap, the black crack.
Alrighty, here we go. Episode 5, baby.
Episode 5.
Welcome back to Down to Podcast Town.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about tonight?
So we are talking about Eomer, Marshal of the Riddermark. He's the next in our line of spotlight heroes.
Yeah.
Just want to talk about him a little bit, kind of his profile, what armies he fits into, and changes from the last edition and how we use him.
Yeah, but also another of the battle host box guys.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking to pick up the game or find a hero that you want to learn how to play, that's kind of what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
You want to start it off?
Sure, yeah. I'll dive right into his profile. So Eomer, Marshal of the Riddermark, 110 points. Move 6, fight 6, which is huge. Big change from last edition.
Huge.
Shoot value of 4, strength 4, d6, 3 attacks, 3 wounds. 4 up courage, 5 up intelligence, 3 stats for heroics.
Beautiful 3-3-3.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah. He's got some pretty cool abilities and upgrades. War gear. He has Guthwine, his sword. So he has basically exploding 6s. So when he rolls to wound, if he rolls a natural 6, he gets to roll another die.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool because it can kind of, if you get lucky and you Yahtzee it, now all of a sudden your opponent's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, what's that saying? Like just roll 6s? That's the best strategy
just
in the
roll
game.
6s.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
Win more. He's got heroic strength and heroic strike for his actions. Both, I think, really applicable in this edition.
Yeah.
I know some people were hoping he had some others, but I mean, I'm very happy with those two.
Yeah, I think in that list, and we'll see in his other list, but most of the time he's going to be accompanied with some other good hitters that can, that can strike.
Yes.
And then he can strength, and that's really going to...
And in some of the lists, too, he gets that +1 strength bonus on the charge, which brings him up to strength 5, which means strength 10 if he heroic strengths, which he's smushing.
Right.
Let's see. His options for war gear, again, are pretty awesome. So you can get Firefoot with armor or just regular Firefoot. That's his horse, who has a 12-inch movement. Freaking awesome.
Yeah. What is that, one of like the 3 horses that can go 12?
Yeah,
right, as of right
Shadowfax and Asphalot, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think
that's it.
So that, moving 12, fight 6, exploding 6s, pretty freaking awesome upgrade. His last profile in the last edition was really such a disappointment. I always wanted to play him, but I was never really able to. At least I couldn't justify it.
No, it seems like he might have benefited from like the Arise rule in the old one, like as in he's one of the riders too.
Yeah.
Like if he's near Theoden, but yeah, being capped at 5/5, wasn't he?
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
No, it's not. And then you can equip him with shield and throwing spear, so he can get up to D7 with the shield.
That seems like an auto take.
Yeah. The
shield,
I would think so. Yeah, I think the throwing spears are the one where I'm not sure about because it's 5 points. I mean, it's good. He has a shoot value of 4. It's just most armies he's in, you're going to be hurting for models anyways because you're mostly paying for mounted guys.
Yeah.
So
it's rare, I think, that you're going to fill that in with the 5 points from him.
Yeah, usually I try to save it, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking it because it just makes him that much better.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Maybe there should have been something cool and themey there for him throwing it at like leaders. Yeah.
That's like an auto 6. Special rules. He gets expert rider. Great for those objective scenarios. Horse Lord, which also got a buff this edition, right?
Yeah.
So
it's an auto ignore. Like there's an auto ignore.
Yeah. So before you even have to spend fate, you can roll, and if you get that 6. The horse does not take the wound. And it does, again, it just makes him that much more potent in combat because the easiest way to kind of neuter a big hero is to take out their horse. Yeah. And having Horse Lord is sneakily very, very important.
Yeah. Going back to that exploding sixes thing. So if you're going up against a heroic defense model, that doesn't negate that, right? You're still getting that additional roll if you hit that 6, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that heroic defense guy is really hoping you don't get that 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's a leader Royal Guard, so that's new for this edition. Royal Guard can't just be taken in any warband anymore. They're an elite unit that has to be taken by only a few people that can take them.
Yeah. And Eomer's, he's royal.
Yeah.
So you can get some guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. This last special rule might or might not come into play. If Theoden or Eowyn are in the same army as him, and either or both are removed as a casualty for the remainder of the game, he must reroll all failed to wound rolls on making strikes for the remainder of the game. When he moves, he must charge if possible. So yeah, there's a chance that can pop off, and now he's re-rolling failed wounds.
But unlike Eowyn's, he doesn't have to go towards the Theoden.
No,
so
yeah.
He still has a lot of freedom, right?
Yeah, he has a lot of freedom. He just has to charge.
And has to re-roll, darn.
Yeah, a bummer. Let me try for that 6 again.
Yeah.
So it's a great rule. Who knows when it'll come into play. I mean, most of the time you probably don't want Theoden dead, so.
No. But I think there's going to be some cool changes to making him way more playable that we're gonna see here. And one of them's actually not even from his profile, right? It's how they changed the Arise rule.
Yeah.
Right, and how that can be assigned to a general.
Yeah.
Right, whereas it used to be strictly a Theoden thing. So then he automatically felt like you had to take him to unlock the whole army the army bonuses from the profiles.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So then he's in what? How many lists? 4 or 5 lists? 4
or 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into those. You got the first one?
Yeah.
You want to jump into?
First one, I think I got Kingdom of Rohan here, right?
Yep.
If we're going in order. So let's just start with what is this army looking like? Like, what is the theme of this one? And this is more just like, I don't know, I don't want to say soup Rohan, but it's just kind of like you can grab anything, right? From the list this is from the Lord of the Rings, Rohan. So not the War of the Rohirrim in Rohan. This army has like 2 bonuses. That was, Nathan, you mentioned one of them before, which is the +1 strength for Rohan Cav when they charge.
Yep.
And that's covering warriors and heroes, so that'll include Eomer. And then Home of the Horse Lords. So we already talked about Horse Lord getting a buff. Now it gets even an additional buff here.
Yeah.
So instead of just it being a natural 6 negates the wound, it's a 5 up. So a natural 5. So nothing you can spend might on, but it's a natural 5 will negate that wound.
Yeah. And so this army, it's not as popular of a pick, because the other armies he's in, like, there's cool rules like free heroic combats and stuff, and so naturally people want to dive into that. But this having the 5 up save for your horses is huge in terms of keeping your hero going and doing a lot of damage. And the other cool thing is, I think this is the only list where you can have Theodred in it.
Yeah.
So you can have Eomer and Theodred, who are just 2 super hard hitting heroes for their points. Yep. Just completely wrecking.
And either of them can be your general. So back to the point we made about the Arise rule. Eomer can be your general in this one, and still give all that fight buff. But then he's pretty protected on that horse from shooting.
Right.
That's also really good. I think what other things would I notice in this list? I think in the Riders of Eomer, there's no Royal Guard, right? Or are there?
I don't think so. No. It's all like his.
Yeah. So in this one, you can bring those Royal Guard.
Yes.
Right, and bring those to bear if you like. That's fight 5 when they're near the general. Yeah, on the charge. Yeah. And then still fight 4 base, which I think that's a point where you'll feel it a lot if you're playing Rohan and you're getting countercharged, right? Or you're getting charged. Yeah. Fight 3 is. Yeah,
and I mean, him allowing you to bring those guys also gives you the bodyguard. So for charging the terror-causing models, just sprinkling a couple of them in for that purpose alone is worth it.
Yeah. And then I think your other lists that I've faced, with the Riders of Eomer, you're taking a regular banner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're not getting, this list, you can actually have access to gambling, right? And that's not going to happen all the time.
No. But the nice thing is in this Kingdom of Rohan list also, I think in all of the other, no, not all of them, most of the other ones, you have to take mounted Rohirrim, and this one you can take foot ones.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, which can help with bringing up those numbers. If you don't want to take a banner on horse, you don't have to, and you can kind of keep them clustered in a line.
Sure, yeah.
And so this list can also get a little bit higher in numbers than most other Rohan lists.
Yeah, you use the new rule, the throwing spear mastery, and kind of have some sort of standard line with spears behind, and then still have your cavalry contingent. So yeah, this is, if you were used to playing Rohan in the old one, and you always wanted to say like, I'm always just playing Legendary Legion Riders of Theoden. Sometimes I just wish I was playing regular Rohan. This is kind of the way you would do it in this version, and then you're also kind of getting that home of the Horse Lords buff with keeping your models alive. So, all right.
Cool. All right, on to the next one. We have Riders of Eomer. So this Legion certainly got much better in this edition compared to the old edition. The main rules, you have to include Eomer, who is always your general. The Riders of Rohan don't count towards the army build limit. So this is that Legion where it's Eomer and Gandalf coming to, save the day at Helm's Deep. Yep. And that's really, it just features those two heroes. Both of them get a really cool special rule where Gandalf, once per game, at the start of a friendly activation, he can use it until the end of the turn. Enemy models engaged in combat with a friendly cav model that made a charge that turn, or supporting against a friendly cav model that made a charge that turn suffer -1 penalty to their duel roll. So that once per game ability is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like how they also included the supports, because then it would have just been a pretty silly rule. So that was well done.
That was easily negated otherwise. And then Eomer in this Legion also gets the +1 on the strength in which they charge. All Rohan cavalry do. Yep,
but not Gandalf.
No, because he's not Rohan.
Yeah, he won't be Rohan.
And Eomer may also declare a heroic combat each turn for free. Yep. So that's the big one. He just kind of gets to go nuts in this edition, or in this Legion. Yep. And with the +1 strength on the charge, getting up to strength 5, that's huge. Yeah. For heroic combating around, he's going to be, wailing on a lot of guys.
Gandalf is still striking on strength 5 because he's got the his weapon. What is it called? Glamdring, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, he's still strength 5 too. So he's hitting hard.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he can two-hand too. If he wanted to.
Right. Yeah. But this list is Riders of Eomer. If it wasn't said already, everything has to be mounted. So in regards to what Nathan was saying earlier about Kingdom of Rohan being able to get your numbers up, every one of these models is paying for their horse. Yep. And so, you'll see it on there. Eomer's right off the bat, 140 minimum, and then Gandalf is 225 minimum. So,
and I don't think you're playing this, you're only playing this list if you are playing both those heroes. I mean, maybe you play it without Gandalf, but that you're losing half your bonus and he's huge. So, so it's really a two-person list.
It is,
and they're both very good. Gandalf got a big buff in this edition. He's got plenty of spells, much better in combat. Eomer can kind of take out whatever he wants in combat for the most part. If you want to play a list where it features two pretty awesome heroes, they get really good special rules. Yep. And it's all mounted cav. This is the list for sure. Yeah, pretty skirmishy too, because you're not going to see a lot of I don't think many Rohan lists are going to have, riders that don't count towards the bow limit paired with blinding light, right? And so that, if you're facing that can get tough to crack. So that's Riders of Eomer. Okay, I'm up. Yep. For Riders of Theoden. Okay. So the first thing that I'll just say I noticed from this list from the previous edition is it's missing quite a few names. Yeah. But we're hoping those are going to come back. There's even like a spot for them, right? Right there, big old black spot. So this list is supposed to represent more of
the Rohan contingent arriving at Pelennor, right? Death. So that's kind of their big army bonus here. Is once per game at the start of any fight phase, Theoden can use a special rule, and like all the Rohan heroes can go ahead and either call a heroic combat or a strike, right?
Mm-hmm.
Within 12 within 12 of Theoden.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was always like that.
I don't think it was.
I thought it was battlefield wide before, so now it's a little more restrictive. Got to be close to Theoden. And then yes, they still retain their strength bonus on the charge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty standard Rohan thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is kind of a cool one. So if you're looking at this list and you're maybe thinking, okay, well now how am I going to balance out having less numbers?
Mm-hmm.
When you're within 3 inches of Eomer or Theoden,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they don't have to be the general. They
Mm-hmm.
get dominant too.
Mm-hmm.
So every rider's an account is 2 models for an objective play.
Yeah.
Which when you have 2 different beacons of that can really add up because it gives you a lot of battlefield coverage.
Yep.
Because you can send guys off to another objective because you're like, yeah, I already have my general here.
Mm-hmm.
All I need is 1 other guy, and that's 5.
Yeah.
Right? Theoden and 1 dude is 5 there. So you can maybe send a couple more to cover another one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The tricky thing there is it's friendly cavalry warrior. So if all of a sudden that horse gets sniped out, now it's not dominant anymore.
Yes.
So that's something you have to also keep in mind. Keeping your general or Eomer around the things. It's kind of annoying little detail, but
Yeah. That is not the case though for the death rule.
Right.
So I don't think it says charge. It's just literally Rohan hero.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you could get dismounted and still get to join in on that death thing where, Theoden, or, another hero like Eomer gets dismounted.
Yeah.
He can still get that heroic combat within 12 of Theoden.
Yeah.
So
This list used to be like exclusively run as like an all hero list last edition.
Yeah.
With the addition of the dominant 2, now that definitely kind of pulls you back a little bit more into adding some warriors. So Eomer in the previous list gets 3 heroic combats every round. This one, he'll get 1, but so does every other hero. So he's much less the centerpiece of the army. I mean, he's still a big piece of it, but not the center.
No, and it's heroic combat or strike. So it's basically 1 free point of might for every hero if they stay within 12 of Theoden. But yeah, I think we will see more warriors. I think it's gonna have to be because there was a bit of a points creep this edition, and it hit this army pretty hard when you were running all heroes.
Yeah.
I think most of the heroes got a little bit of an increase on points, right? Yeah. So if you're used to playing that before, it's still really good in my opinion, and it can still really wreck somebody. But then just be more mindful that the points have been adjusted a little bit on the heroes.
For sure.
Bring some troops.
Yeah, and he's definitely number 2 in this list because you got to bring Theoden, and I don't think I would take Gambling before him or Eowyn. I would Eomer's for sure the second one to be picked in this list. Yeah. Which in last edition, I don't even think people were using him.
No.
They would rather put in 2 captains than Eomer. So.
Yeah. I've seen Eowyn still ran.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
I'm just saying in terms of who you choose first.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eomer's up there.
Right. Does Merry count as a Rohan hero in this list?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he has a different profile for Rohan than he does like in the Fellowship. I think he's a Rohan hero.
And yeah, because it's the Rohan Meriadic or whatever. So little gaming stuff there on the dismount and charge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dismount, go charge something, and then you get another heroic combat from Theoden.
You sure do.
Yeah, that's a little game.
Yeah, or a strike.
yeah. All right.
And this one, I suppose, is probably the most likely time when that rule, when Eowyn might die or Theoden might die, will pop off.
Yeah.
Because Eowyn you can use as kind of like a little cruise missile and just send her in.
Right.
And if she fails, like now all of a sudden you got a souped up Eomer coming in.
Correct. Right. Whereas, you don't want your general dying.
You do not.
Right. So you don't want to have Theoden set it off. You want to have Eowyn set it off.
Right.
Which, poor Eowyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. On to the next one. Defenders of Pelennor. So this one is the good soupy list from the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
The Hobbit has the Battle of the Five Armies soupy list. This is the Lord of the Rings soup list.
Yep.
It's meant to represent the Pelennor fields when all the armies are essentially together.
Mm-hmm.
So you can run Theoden, you can run Aragorn, Gandalf the White, obviously you can run Eomer, Legolas, Gimli, the King of the Dead, Eowyn, Gamling, Captains of Rohan, Herald of the Dead, Irolas, Captain of Minas Tirith. You can run Pippin, and then you kind of get warriors from Rohan, Gondor, and the Dead Warriors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then for the special rules for this army, Rohan warriors can only be with Rohan heroes, Gondors can only be with Gondor heroes, or Gandalf.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dun hero models can only be with Aragorn, Legolas, or Gimli. It has one special rule. Each hero in your army can, once per game, declare a heroic combat for free. So this list, its special rule is lacking, but its list building is strong, I would say.
Oh yeah, there's not much to it on the on the special rules.
Yeah.
But if you noticed, they buffed Eomer
Yes.
to be like, okay, you guys want to use him so much?
Yeah.
Well, use him twice a turn because almost every list is gonna have free heroic combats for this guy.
At least one time.
And that free heroic combat is independent of being within a general, so you can be all over the battlefield covering a lot of the game, calling these free heroics. But with that in mind, you do need a hero that can win them. And so when you're picking through here at all these different hero options, it's all good that you added a Captain of Minas Tirith, but is he a guarantee to pull off that hero combat?
Right. Yeah.
Not always, but yeah. And then I think with this one, different from Riders of Theoden, is that it doesn't all have to be same turn. That can be used tactically, right?
Right.
So you can have Eomer in with the captain. Captain calls his free one. That's like another way of getting Eomer in one, right?
Right.
He can go off and do something else. So
yeah, this is the list where, I love Eomer a lot in this edition. I don't know if this is the first list that we've looked at where I'm like, maybe not an auto include.
No, yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing. Like, he's still very good. But I think this list, the intention of this list is to be able to be built a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
And I think it does that pretty well. Him in this list makes sense. He's still very good. He does his job. There's just so many tools in this list. I wouldn't be surprised to see this list without him. So
and I think you did mention it earlier, right? The Rohan warriors can only be coming in with the Rohan leaders, right?
Yeah.
So I guess if you were really looking into it and you wanted to get some Fight 5 in here, into this list and kind of make your list around a Fight 5, you would bring him, right, with the Royal Guard, or can they not bring the...
Yeah, you can bring Royal Guard in this list. But Theoden can do it too, and he's a little bit cheaper. So again, it's not a auto take here.
No, not at all.
He's probably, outside of maybe Aragorn, the best suited for that free heroic combat.
Yeah.
So
Gandalf at this point. Gandalf.
Yeah, he takes advantage of the one special rule this army has.
Yeah.
And like you noted, he has the Fight 5 potentially. Also, just in general, with a lot of the way these scenarios are built, you do want mobility.
Yeah.
And so that means you're probably going to take a Rohan hero, because you kind of want at least a couple cav to go around for objectives.
Yeah, I've actually been seeing a lot of people run it with the Army of the Dead.
Yeah. Well,
just bringing them. You're moving 8
with no worries about.
Yeah, or marching or whatever. It's
yeah.
The Rider of the Dead is also 12-inch now.
Yeah, which is insane.
That was another one that we didn't even mention. That's 12-inch.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the little humble warrior Rider of the Dead.
I guess from an Eomer perspective, this is probably not his best list.
No.
But it is a way, if you're playing Eomer and you wanted to expand your collection and be able to move him into another list or play with some other Minas Tirith models, something like that. That's a way you can do that here.
Right.
And still have some fun. I mean, it's not terrible. You're bringing good heroes and you're bringing good troops.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't handicap you if you take him, but he's not necessarily to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think the last one is Men of the West, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll tackle this one. So this is the scene where they've already won at Pelennor, right? The ghosts are bye-bye, and we're just taking the remaining troops to the Black Gate as a distraction.
Yes.
As a diversion.
A diversion.
Right? Yeah. Now, an interesting piece here is this is, I think, one of the rare lists where Eomer does not have to be mounted. Correct?
Yeah, I think he starts with his horse. I don't know Kingdoms of Rohan. Maybe he doesn't have to start on a horse.
Doesn't have to, but yeah, it's one of the rare ones. And it's a decision you make from the beginning, because what you're going to do here is you're either going to take mounted models or you're going to take eagles, right? And if you're doing the eagle version, then you have to be walking around. Yeah. So this list, just a quick breakdown, is going to be Aragorn, King Elisar, right? So this is when he's now ready to march on the Black Gate. Everyone knows what he's done, brought the army of the dead. He is the guy. You can also bring Gwai here. And then you're getting to pick from these really cool other heroes, which is Gandalf the White, Eomer, Legolas, Gimli. And you've got some regular standard fortitude guys, which are just your regular captains on Minas Tirith sides and Rohan. And you've got both of the hobbits, Merry and Pippin, and their independent heroes. And then you just got basic warriors, right? Or eagles. But yeah, let's see here. Aragorn, always your general.
Yep.
Right? So from an Eomer perspective, you're taking a 225 point model that's going to be in the list automatically. Could be 250 if you're mounting them up. Then you're going to be looking at, if you do Cav, like I said earlier, if you do Cav, no eagles, and vice versa. Only Gwai here can include the Great Eagles, so you can't just bring Great Eagles with Aragorn. And then Gandalf the White does not have a staff of power in this, because technically it was broken and shattered from the Witch King on Minas Tirith. Yeah, so the cool thing here is that Aragorn is a beast in this list, and he can call the For Frodo thing. So once per game, start of any fight phase, Aragorn can use a special rule, and as long as he's alive. And then if he does, then non-eagles, right? So pretty much all the men, including the hobbits and Gandalf, within 6 inches get that fight value bonus, which is pretty big, because they're not giving those out like they used to, right? Every model getting fight value +1 is great, and then they also re-roll wounds on a natural 1. So pretty big. If you're tactful with that, once per game. You're also giving those. It's not just warriors, right? So you are buffing Eomer up to fight 7. You know, Gandalf losing his staff, then they've already countered that, so he gets less will. He's not getting a will every turn, but he can re-roll a single d6 every time he casts. So in a way, it can kind of feel like you're getting more. But you're still going to be limited on how many casts you get. Courage tests, auto pass. Right?
Everybody.
Aragorn's alive. Anything. So that's including the eagles. Which they don't even need help.
No.
But they're passing. And you'll see, like, throughout games now, there's less courage buffs floating around. So just getting that automatic from him is pretty big. And then final stand, friendly infantry models within 3 inches of a friendly hero gain dominant 2. So that's kind of a encouraging way for you to not be on your horses, right? Yep. Infantry models. So it can be your regular warriors next to a hero that's mounted though. Right?
Can be.
What do you think about this list?
So this list, again, similar to the previous one, I'm not sure where Eomer fits in the rankings of who to take. In fact, I would guess probably lower, because you have to take Aragorn, and then right off the bat, you're either choosing to bring Gwai here or mount everybody. So
pretty tough decision.
Right.
Still.
I don't know if you take Gandalf in this list. It kind of sucks not having the the staff.
The will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Legolas in any list is going to be at the top that you want to take.
Yeah. Yep. Just the way he is in the game right now. Yep.
Yeah. But I probably would consider Eomer above Gimli and all the other heroes. It's just, and even on, if he's not on horse, he's still solid on foot with his 3 attacks, defense 7, right? Giving dominant 2 to everybody around him. He's, the other little niche thing is if he's around Aragorn, right? Getting to that +1 fight value is awesome.
Yeah.
Rerolling to wound rolls of a natural 1, fishing for those 6s.
Again. yeah. Again.
Kind of helps him out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be buddy with Aragorn there.
I do feel like people are running a lot either Aragorn with Gwahir,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you're going Aragorn with like Legolas, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. Seems like those are the pairings. And Eomer kind of gets left out except for high points.
Right. And then I think when you're doing with the Gwahir, you're not mounting up Elisar. You can't.
No.
Right? So, yeah, I'm still not 100. I've seen this list used,
Mm-hmm.
and it's working well for people.
Yep.
I'm just not sure if I've figured out how I would do it. Because I do think Eomer brings something different than Legolas.
Yeah.
He's gonna, he's got 3 attacks.
Yeah.
And then defense is there.
Yeah, the
He's
defense
gonna
is
be
there.
a little more tanky,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, another way to play Eomer.
Mm-hmm.
I think we covered
I think that's all of them.
all of the lists, right, for
Yep.
Eomer?
Yep.
What are your closing thoughts on Eomer this edition?
Eomer this edition,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. He was one of the top models I was excited to play once I saw the profile.
Yeah.
Particularly in Riders of Eomer and getting the free heroic combats is awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's one of my favorite characters in the books as well. Like he's just, I'm super excited to play him. I have been playing with him.
Yeah.
I love Riders of Eomer a lot.
He's kind of seemed like a little bit of a sleeping giant, like one that
Mhm.
we've all kind of been asking for or hoping that he's going to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think they definitely captured that this edition.
Yeah.
Definitely not with making him, he's not overpowered.
No,
but
no.
he's a really strong, fun model to play. He's sturdy and pretty reliable. And then you do have that fun swinginess where,
Mhm.
oh, hey, like I rolled a 6 and his horse stayed alive. Or, oh, I
Mhm.
rolled a 6 and I got that extra wound in that I needed to kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then just any list where you're getting some might regeneration with his
Right.
free heroic combats,
Mm-hmm.
and then learning how to maneuver that can be fun.
Yeah. And the nice thing about those bonuses is you don't have to depend on him. Like if those don't hit, it's not like he's not gonna make his points up, right?
Yeah.
Like he's still gonna be good, even if those things don't ever trigger for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can still pull from his 3 fate to
Yes.
save that horse,
Mm-hmm.
and you can still also
Yeah.
you're still rolling 8 dice
Yeah.
if you charge somebody.
Yes. Yeah. If you knock him prone.
Yeah.
And if you heroic strength too, like you don't need 6s.
No.
Yeah.
Strength, and he's also fight 6, right? So some guys are at fight 5 right now,
Mhm.
and so fight 6 is a good spot to be,
Mm-hmm.
and still having that ability to strike up to 9.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you're still in the game against a troll,
Oh yeah.
troll chieftain.
Uh-huh.
It's not your best play, but you can still get in there.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're looking to play an Eomer, there's our breakdown. Hope you like those lists options for you. There's quite a few options,
Mhm.
some different stuff that you can mix them into, and other models you can play with as you expand your armies.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
See you next time.